Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for popping in. So in today's video, we're going to talk about some really awesome news that Plarium just gave us. Is mainly focused on quality of life for the player. That's awesome, especially when this game has so many things that could be polished up about it. This is a huge step in the right direction. So definitely a huge plus from me. On first glance, everything looks awesome. So let's jump right into the news. All right, guys, so this is a roadmap that Plarium provided to us. It's actually really cool because in the past, they've provided us with roadmaps, but the ideas of the roadmaps were massive changes and updates. Here, this roadmap looks very, I guess, more micro instead of more macro. So these look very close in reach, if not probably completed and just ready to be updated in the game. So we can have these updates with fair certainty that they will happen, because in the past roadmaps weren't always 100% followed. And frankly, Plarium has said that they didn't want to provide us with any more roadmaps of macro ideas or macro updates that are too long in timeline, because once deadlines are interrupted or not reached, then outrage happens and all that stuff. And I think Plarium wanted to avoid some of that moving forward, so they don't really provide us with any kind of macro updates anymore. I believe this happened around the time that Hydra was introduced. If you guys are interested, there is a macro roadmap of Hydra and the pathway of Hydra, and a lot of it was not followed, even to this day, many years later. So I think Plarium wanted to step away from that. So we haven't really gotten a real roadmap in a long time, but this roadmap is different. This roadmap shows small improvements that I feel are very obtainable and are probably ready to be released from Plarium's side. So let's jump into the first one, and it's going to be Tavern Improvements. As we know, the Tavern is so clunky, so awkward to use. There's so many things that can be improved about it. And anybody that spends a lot of time in the Tavern knows that it's a pain in the butt. So let's see what Plarium has to say about all that. So I got the note here from Plarium basically telling us what is happening. So let's go over that real quick. We got some visuals here to help along. So Tavern improvements will become one of the first things to be implemented in the upcoming update. It will help to make progress of upgrading your champions quicker and more efficient. Perfect, love it. Number one, the champion filter will become available in the Tavern. Perfect. So currently we don't actually have the filter here. Which doesn't really make sense, right? It's like, why we don't have the filter here? It will work similarly to the one that we have in collection. So the collection, this is the filter they're talking about. Good. So why is it not in the Tavern? We don't know, but back to the Tavern we go. It will work similar to the one we have in the collection, apart from a few extras that will allow you to upgrade champions who are currently placed in either one of the vaults. Great. That's a little bit of less manual sorting and manual looking for stuff. So that's great. Here's the visual here. This is what it will look like. So you will have the filter option in the future, and we'll be able to filter the vaults and find our food that way. So pretty good. I mean, this is a very obvious upgrade that they should have added from the beginning. So very happy to see this here. All right, so number two, Champion Ascension will become much quicker thanks to a little slider that lets you choose which ascension level you want instead of doing it manually by tapping a button until you're done. So here is the visual for the Ascension. So this is great. It shows you the full amounts to max it out and everything. I mean, this is obvious, right? This is obvious. In the past, what you can do to speed this up is basically just once you hit ascend button, you can click the space bar. So if you guys didn't know that, currently you can kind of here, I'll show you guys on my game, but basically, let's say I have a Kentum here. Let's say I want to ascend him. Let's say I click the ascend button. All I have to do is click the space button while he's doing his cheer, and it'll speed it up. So I click ascend, space, and he's fully maxed out. So yeah, so that's one way to like speed it up, but of course not everybody knows that. But moving forward, we're gonna have a little slider, and you're gonna be able to see it. So that's really awesome. All right, moving on to the next point. They said a similar slider will appear in the upgraded skills tab. It will allow you to choose your skill tomes to use and how many you need to use at once. So you can finally say goodbye to manually tapping the skill tomes to fill out the limited slots and repeating it over and over if it wasn't enough. So this is good, but it's honestly a kind of a smallish update. It's not really that important, to be honest, because most champions don't take like ridiculous amounts of books, and it doesn't really save you that many clicks. However, I do see a problem with this for newer players or players that are not aware. If you are not aware and you click the wrong book, you need to be very careful about that, because the slider will grab all of the books from the one that you clicked. Just something to be careful about, because I know I'm not the only one that has clicked this, have done this before. I'm not the only one in the world that has done this before and then clicked this by accident. You guys need to be 1 bajillion% sure that you guys will not click legendary book and then max this the slider and then click accept. Okay, guys. So you see here the slider, if you accidentally click the legendary book and then you max it out and then you click upgrade, then all those books are gone. So this is something that you need to be careful of. It's also something that might not actually be that helpful to people, because sometimes you want to manually apply your books. So for example, let's say I have my Skull Crusher here, and let's say I only wanted the book to land here, and I don't really care about the books in this damage because this damage doesn't matter at all. So I would, instead of just having a slider that I would just max out, I would put 1 book at a time. That's how I would upgrade. That's how I would conserve my books into Skull Crusher. So I would put 1 book at a time until I land this cooldown. And if I'm extremely unlucky, then all 4 books land here first, and then my last book will land here. But if I do it the way that I'm just describing, it will give me a chance to save my books. If you use the slider naturally, you will naturally want to slide it all the way to fully book them out. That's kind of a trap, because you don't want to fully book out some champions. So I'm saying this as a warning to you guys. Make sure you guys are using this properly, not misusing that slider, because this feels like it could be a trap for a lot of people, because a lot of champions don't need to be fully booked. If you see here, some of my champions that I actually use are not even fully booked. For example, my Mikage. She doesn't need to be fully booked because she only needs this cooldown reduction on her A3, and her other abilities don't need it. Of course, she benefits from them, but she doesn't need the books. So I can conserve legendary mythical books that way. Another champion that I use very often that I don't fully book is Nekmo Thar. Nekmo Thar is in my Hydra team. I've saved 2 books on his A1 for damage. He doesn't deal significant damage on his A1. So I'm saving the 2 legendary books here on his A1 as well. I basically manualed his books so that I can at least make the cooldowns on both of these key abilities, and then I'm done with it. I don't need to fully book them out. So make sure you guys pay attention to that slider. Just a quick note there I wanted to provide to you guys. So moving on to the upgrading champion level. That's actually really nice. It's a really good update, I think. So here's the image that they provided. So basically now we don't need to select 6 champions to I guess upgrade them. Let's read what Plarium has to say. Upgrading champion level will be easier as well with the instant upgrade. By simply tapping the checkbox, your champion list will display nothing but common and uncommon rarity champions. Awesome. Which will be selected as a potential sacrifice unless you are currently locked or used otherwise. But no worries, you can manually remove specific champions if you need to, like if you want to spare our boy OG Death Knight. But this change will definitely make leveling up easier and almost instantaneous in most cases. So yeah, this is great. I mean, it's going to separate the 1 and 2 stars for us and make it a lot easier to identify and pick them out. Instant upgrade right here, this little button here. The thing is with this is that it will apply to and help people that are basically grinding mystery shards, right? Because you don't really get a lot of 1 and 2 stars if you don't grind mystery shards. So if you don't grind mystery shards, for example, if you don't open mystery shards during champion chase to conserve some of your bigger shards, for example, then this feature won't help you too much. But for a grinder that is opening mystery shards, this is massive life improvement. It's going to save you tons of clicks, feeding those 1 and 2 stars out of your vault to make space. It's a big upgrade. It's awesome. It should have been in the game a long time ago. So we're glad it's here. So up next, there is something else called instant rank up. This looks really cool. So it's part of the upgrading champion rank update that they're doing. Will allow you to automatically fill the rank upgrade requirement for one or several champions using whatever resources you have available. Thus, you'll be able to rank up all your food in a few taps. So you can basically line up all of your 2-star 20s and then make them into 3 stars right here on one screen and do it in one click, as opposed to manually selecting them. For example, like what I would have to do right now is I would manually have to select each one, fill them out, manually have to select each one, fill them out. So yeah, I mean, needless to say, this is absolutely bonkers good. Yeah, it's gonna cut time in it's more than half. It's gonna cut time significantly. So this is an awesome one. Huge for grinders, just to save their hands. There's no way to like automate this in any way. So all of it is manually clicking and moving items, moving food and moving brews and all that stuff. So here it's all done in one click after you set it up. Going to save you a lot of clicks moving forward. Looks awesome. Can't wait to try it out. Definitely going to be helpful for big grinders. So continuing with the instant rank up, they're going to say there is a built-in filter which will allow you to set the priorities and limitations of each rank, like whether you want to prioritize chicken as rank up fodder. Oh, okay, that's great. That's even more customization. That's really good. For champions of rank 5, while setting rare champions as preferred food for champions of rank 4 during the upgrade. You can also go beyond and forbid the game to use champions with gear or upgraded skills as food, even if they match your criteria. That's good. I mean, that's a little bit of extra customization that's going to make it, in some cases more safe for you to not feed your, geared up champions or book champions, for example. Yeah, definitely be careful with that kind of stuff. It doesn't look like there's going to be hopefully they can give you a warning that says, do you want to destroy the gear, or are you sure you want to feed food, or some kind of warning, like in case you don't select this option to forbid the game to use champions with gear. If you forget to do that, hopefully at this stage, before you click rank up, they'll offer you a warning, hopefully. But yeah, yet to be seen. So far, it sounds great, but definitely some things to be careful about for sure. Just obviously to take care of your own champions and not feed the ones with gear or books in them. And here's the visual on the filter. So there's definitely going to be some check boxes here. So make sure you guys check those out and check them before you go ahead and try this feature out, just to protect yourself, of course. All right, so back to the roadmap. So that was just Tavern Improvements. So that's going to be coming, I think, pretty soon. That's going to be the first one that comes. Up next, we have Epic Champion Empowerment. Honestly, this should have been in the game a long time ago. I think Plarium realizes that the gap between mythicals and the rest is just getting wider. So wide that letting somebody have a +4 Epic Champion doesn't make a damn difference anymore. So I think in the beginning, before mythicals, they didn't want people to focus solely on using epics to beat content or whatever, because there definitely are some epics that are strong enough that can, do basically all content, especially if they were empowered with more stats, bringing them to like legendary level of stats. But now with mythicals, I'm pretty sure with void mythicals coming in the near future, I would say 6 months time, before the year end, there's going to be void mythicals, in my opinion. The gap is going to be so massive that giving you a +4 epic champion doesn't make a damn difference. So here you go, guys. People that aren't lucky with legendaries, here's your +4 epics. Go beat whatever content you need to beat. So to me, this is a huge boost for anybody that has been overly unlucky in their draws, have been basically trying to get through some content but are unable to. They're giving us a small heads up in terms of, here's the epic, here's a red flag, save your epics, basically, right? They're giving us a little bit of a heads up before they drop the content, which is, kind of nice. But of course, we won't be able to accumulate too many epics in the short period of time, but it's a little bit of a heads up so that we don't feed our epics today. So obviously you want to keep your best epics. Make sure you evaluate your own account based on what you are using. So for example, for myself, I can do this and check on my vaults. So what epics am I actually using on my account, like on a daily basis, right? Like I use Seer, and that's kind of about it. Like I use Seer and that's kind of about it. And honestly, I don't really care about my Seer because she basically handles all content anyway. So I don't, like, I can build her to 6-star crushing rend. I can give her better gear, but I don't. I basically give her like the minimum gear that allows me to get through whatever content. Shamail could be a candidate to get empowered. Like Ugo can be a candidate as well. Roll guard. I like multiple roll guards because I find I still jam them into some content, which is actually still kind of useful. So I don't really want to sacrifice them, but I'm pretty sure I have copies of them. Geomancer is another one that could be empowered as well, that gets used pretty often. But obviously, these are things that you have to assess for your own account. And obviously, keep the best epics, guys. Don't feed them off if you guys can help it. But yeah, like even for myself as an end game player, I'm not using too many epics, but having them +4 empowered will make some content a lot easier. So this is an awesome upgrade, especially since like most, I would say 99% of people don't use this feature. This is a dead feature, right? Empower champions. This is a dead feature to me. I'm not empowering any of these champions because their faction guardians is not filled out. If their faction guardians were filled out, then I would start thinking about empowering them. But since they're not, this is basically dead content until, you know, I get those faction guardians filled out, to be honest. So very, very awesome update to give us epic empowerment. So good to see. After that, we have artifact presets. This is big if it is what I think it will be. So what I think it will be is probably giving us full sets of gear that we can basically kind of swap onto the champion. So for example, it might give us the ability to, like, if you had I don't know, if you had okay, if you have Sun Wukong, this is a damage set, and then you had a preset for like a support build, and then it'll just instantly transfer the gear. If you can set up that build and then instantly transfer it, that would be awesome. That would save you a ton of time looking for the gear, unequipping the gear. Sometimes your stash is full, oh my god, and then you have to delete gear and all that stuff. So having that option available, even though, you know, this might be a big silver sink too, because it might entice you to do more swapping and all that stuff, or make it easier to. And keep in mind, every time you swap gear, like a full set of gear, it's like 1,000,000 silver sometimes. So, you know, it might be a big silver sink, or it might be like their idea of, you know, quickening the silver sink on people. But it's a huge quality of life if you use it correctly. So that's a huge plus if it is what I think it is. A full set of gear that you preset that you can click and swap onto the champion at will. So that would be amazing. But yeah, up until this point, there's no additional info on that. That's just my speculation, but I think that makes sense. So coming along here, we have the accessory filters. That's awesome. This is something that must be done. It should be done right now, but I'm pretty sure they're just adding it on. But basically, there's so many different accessory sets that it kind of warrants some level of separation now. So you can see here, like in your champions, you go to the accessories, like what the heck is happening? There's like so many different sets of accessories now. And honestly, a lot of them kind of look the same. So it's like, it's easy to miss what you're looking at. And it's incredibly hard to find something. So if I wanted to filter and look for the set, I can't. So having accessory filters is massive. That also means that they might be considering future accessories sets as well. So that further degrades the generic gear we get from the spider dungeon, to be honest, to have these set specific accessories. So now basically the gear power creep has gotten into spider. Previously, spider was never power crept, or was not power crept significantly. But now even spider has been power crept. So now the gear from the dungeon, the generic accessories, will no longer be as powerful, obviously, as some of these set or special accessories. But having a filter for them is awesome. So definitely good to see that. All right, next up we have this artifact removal booster item. Honestly, I think this is probably just the, it's probably like XP boost. It's probably like XP boost. You can probably use it when an artifact and removal event is live, and then maybe you can boost, you know, give it a couple days or extra day or something. It could be just a reward. It could be just a reward in an event, you know, Titan event, hero, whatever. It could just be a reward. And honestly, this booster item would be incredibly more useful than XP item, especially for late game players, because the artifact removal boosting item would basically just equate into a massive silver saving opportunity, whereas 1 day XP doesn't mean a whole lot to anybody that's been playing the game for more than like 2 months. So that's my speculation. They didn't provide us with any more information, but it is logically making sense to me that this booster item is probably just something like an XP boost that you can apply maybe during a artifact removal event to make it a little bit longer, or, you know, maybe it's 1 day boost. Maybe it gives you 1 day of your choosing that you can remove gear for free. That would be unbelievable. And I think it's so needed. It's so needed. You know what else? Actually, I'm going to go off on a little thing here, but in another game I used to play Diablo. They had something called Magic Find, and basically it's a special attribute on your gear that boosts your chance of finding higher quality gear. I would love to see that in some kind of special set or something in Raid, where they can give you some kind of boost similar to like an XP boost or a gear removal boost, maybe something you can collect that gives you an additional boost on gear quality. Or they could add it to, they could make a freaking special set out of it. They could call it, I don't know, they could call it like lucky set or whatever set, right? Basically you can equip your champions, and if your champions are equipped with that, your team will get a boosted chance to get better legendaries, or no, sorry, better gear or whatever, higher chance of getting better gear. Anyways, that's a little bit of a side rant, but I would love to see some kind of boosted chance to find better gear type thing introduced into this game as well, but that's another thing. Anyways, I would love to see a boosted or a use at your discretion type of artifact removal item. That would be awesome. And lastly, we have Hydra Clash participation rewards. So I'm all for participation rewards. I think the effort put into Hydra Clash by lots and lots of clans and individuals definitely need to be rewarded beyond, you know, beyond just having nothing. Beyond, if you rank 4th and 5th in a clash, you get nothing for your efforts. Feels really bad. You don't necessarily, I'm not sure what they can do. The sky's the limit. They can be super generous and give us like maybe like 5-star rare pieces. Like they can give us something. Got 5-star rare accessories. Sometimes those are enough to make sets and, you know, just be viable. So I would love to see 5-star rare accessories as like participation rewards. They could be, you know, more stingy and maybe basically give us like gems and brews or something along those lines, like similar to clan boss rewards. But would love to see something there. I'd love to see participation rewards for like, you know, even CVC. Loser of CVC should get something as well. Yeah, like, well, you know, they do get stuff, but I mean, they should, for personal rewards, let's say they should get something, a lower tier rewards. Let's say that. Anyways, guys, so that's going to be it for the news in this video. Hopefully I provided you guys with some insight onto everything, and hopefully you guys are excited. I mean, some of these are great. You can't really knock any of these. These are great. These are all looking like they're heading in the right direction for the player base. Hopefully they have more down the pipeline, because honestly, you know, this looks busy, but I think they can do better. I think they can add a little bit more. I think there's going to be a big content drop soon. I believe their fiscal year end is the end of the summer. I want to say end of the summer. I need to double check that, but usually around September they do some kind of content drop, and I think around December they do the big. December is when they do the big content drop before the end of the year. So within the next 6 months, that's got to be when Void Mythicals come into the game, to be honest. But anyways, that's just my own speculation. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you guys excited? and all that. And yeah, appreciate your time as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video.